Awesome, guys. Well, welcome in week 3. Oh my God, it's gone so quick. It's crazy. So week 3 of our Mastermind series. Okay, we've got some exciting stuff today. We're a little bit late getting started. We apologize. We had a mix up in links and technology. You know what it gets like. This is what it's like working in the online space. Really, only one of the very little challenges that you have and you do face is really that sometimes technology can break down, and sometimes it's our friend and sometimes it's not. But if this is the first mastermind that you've done, if you weren't here week 1 or week 2, just let us know in the comments below, just so we can get an idea of what we can really touch on today. And if we need to kind of backtrack a little bit so that you guys can get a firm understanding of, I guess, how vital the first week 1 and week 2 were, and how important it is to start there. So yeah, Mary just said this is their first one. Well, welcome aboard. Obviously, attendance, showing up is the most important thing. And you can always go back and watch those guys. We haven't released them yet, and that's purely off the back of we didn't want to give the first 2 away. We want to give it away as a series because it is really important to understand that it does work. It's very, very, I guess it has to work together. It doesn't, you can't skip these steps. It's so vital that you do brand yourself. So week 1, we talked about branding. I will touch on this now. And then we'll look at getting started on our topic today. But we talked about branding and position yourself as authority online. Okay, that was week 1. Okay, that was massive for a lot of people. They skip that step. They think it's a bit boring, a little bit cliche, and they tend to kind of just want to go straight to the sale and get to the sale right away. But guys, you've got to remember that this is a process. This is an apprenticeship. This is an internship. It's something that you need to learn. And the skills, it's like when you become a tradesman, you become a plumber or an electrician or whatever, your skill set might be. It still requires, you to build the knowledge so that you can actually apply it. And that starts with branding. That's what we spoke about week 1. Week 2, we started to go into audience and the importance of building an audience, I guess, that is congruent and is relatable to your market, to who you're wanting to attract, who you're wanting to work with. Because the great thing about the online space is you get to choose. For once in your life, you get to choose who you want to work with. You get to choose, you get to be your own boss, you get to pick, your surroundings, and like Jessie always says, I love this, when she first said this to me, you don't bring people into your environment or into your community that you wouldn't have coffee with, right? Or go out to lunch with, or have a beer with. So you have to think about it that way. Really pick your network. And that's what we spoke about, was audiences, where to find them, how to cultivate leads, and, where to go to, or how to go to places that there's already red hot leads there that already understand what you have. They already understand the business model that you have, or they already understand entrepreneurship. So guys, don't hesitate to go back to week 1 and week 2, because week 3 is where it gets really exciting. And this is one of my favorite things to talk about. And that's, all the way from posting. Okay. So when we have an audience, so we've built our brand, we have an audience, okay, and we've got all of these people that, are in front of us, and but what do we do next? How do we keep them excited? How do we keep them raving? We want to create raving fans of your product or service or your business. And I really get excited about this because I remember when I got my first sale. I remember it was, and I remember when I got my first paycheck in network marketing, and it was like $60 or something. It was nothing to skite about, but I was still excited because I'd finally made some income online. So everybody was doubting me and telling me that you'll never make it. it's this and that. And, there's a lot of judgment from the outside. And, when I finally, I guess, nailed it, I realized that, like, if I can do this over and over and over and over again, and I can teach other people to do this over and over and over, it's super leverageable. So when we talk about leveraged income, it doesn't happen in a normal business. It's very, very hard to create leveraged income. Most of the time we trade our time for money. In the online space, what happens is it's flipped on its head. We spend our time, we might be grafting, we might be spending 10 to 12 to 15 hours working our butt off to try to get ahead. But when we get there, it pays us residually, passively, right? Depending on what you're doing, of course. But today we want to touch on, when you have the audience, what do we do next? What's the next step? How do we keep them excited? How do we talk to them? How do we communicate? So I want to pass it over to Jessie and just get her perspective on this, because I know that she's really actually quite good at this. She might not think she is, but like, when you have an audience, you got to know how to make them dance. You got to understand what they really like, what excites them. And if you can do that well, this process becomes really easy. Yeah, Val just said, I think she is. And I agree. I totally agree. I think she's amazing. So I'm going to pass it over, and she's going to kind of give her perspective on what I've just talked about.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing? So yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I think Cole, you said it just right. Like, we got to make them dance. We got to get them excited. And it starts with us. It starts with how excited we really are. And it really starts with, we got to have excitement and passion and knowledge about what it is that we're putting out onto our platform, so that people look at us like leaders. And it really starts with that. It's important that people see us as, sort of the influence in the space, or people that are knowledgeable, like the go-to person. And so when they see you that way, then they're going to engage with you. And so they're not just going to engage with you just because, though, and this is the thing that we really want to talk about today, is a lot about like posting and how to give love to them so that they give love to you in return. And so one of the biggest things that I like to do is always make sure that when we have people that are coming on board, like into our Facebook world, into our Facebook space, or whatever platform that it is that you're using, is that you got to give them love, make them feel welcome into your space. And I mean, I guess, Cole, I could just use this as a segue right into talk about a little bit about, the communication with brand new people. And a lot of people don't really realize that communication is the number one thing when it comes to relationships. And I mean, this is like your relationship at home with your spouse. This is like with your kids. This is in Facebook land. This is everywhere in your entire life. Is that if you want to really have the most amount of success, is that people got to know who you are, what you're talking about, what you're doing, and they have to understand, what your passion is. And so I feel like it's really important for that to come across in your posting, and not even just your posting, but like when you're messaging people, when you are commenting on their things. And I'll give just a quick example, just so that you know like exactly what I'm talking about. But if you have a post on your Facebook, and I use Facebook, you guys, because Facebook is my number one platform. It's the one that it's one that I have decided to focus on. I don't have multiple platforms that I focus on. Cole is very much the same. I do have Instagram and I do have LinkedIn, but my focus is Facebook. And I feel like this is really important for you guys to know, is that if you have all the focus on multiple things, it's going to be a lot harder for you to build engagement. And so this is why I keep saying Facebook. But anyway, so when you post on Facebook and people are commenting below, and let's say it's something really exciting, like you just got pregnant, or something like big deal, right? And so people posting, oh, congratulations, that's awesome. And you can tell, with exclamation marks, with capitals, you can tell like if they're excited, and they give you emojis. If somebody writes underneath and they just like write, congrats, and it's all lowercase and there's no exclamation mark, you can feel it in what they write, in just the word. Like you can feel that they really aren't that excited for you. They just kind of like went with the flow because everyone else was posting it, so they posted the same thing. And so it's like, Val laughs in the chat, and it's true. If you guys go to anyone's Facebook or whatever, go into the comments, find an engaging post that they had created, and you go down below and you start reading the comments, you will know what I'm talking about. You're going to see it. And it's important that you recognize that, because people are going to feel that from you when you're doing that to them, if that makes sense. So,
yeah, and I'll definitely add to that. Like when it comes to posting, the biggest thing to understand is our goal is to bring out people's emotion. So if you do this correctly, it's very, very smart. It's a smart way to marketing. Now, what Jesse's trying to explain is when somebody posts something specifically, like you're about to have a kid, right? It's emotional. It's an emotional journey, right? So it triggers something in their brain to go, oh my God, I need to articulate how I felt in that moment. I need to articulate, I've got kids, I've got 2 or 3 kids. So they have a direct connection to you and what you're going through. Or, you just got married. Now, this is the biggest thing. And I hope you guys have got a pen and pad and you're writing this down. The biggest thing is that, I've been writing it down myself, but the biggest thing to understand is that if you can do this and do this well, it's the easiest, I guess, trick to, I guess, creating engagement. Think of it this way. When you post something, here's an example, right? People have a tendency to be receptive to certain things. So if you post, this is a great example. I love this. If you were to post, hi everybody, I've just had a pay rise, or I've just started a new job, right? Bang, 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 bang. You're going to get a whole heap of comments of people saying, oh my God, that's awesome. Because society is created in a way where, if somebody gets a pay rise or gets a new job, that's a huge achievement. It's a massive milestone. So, but if we go and we post, I just started a new business, we get crickets, right? So it's understanding that, like, we might not get that interaction straight away. But I do think it's important to speak into your future as well. It's very important to articulate in your post and let people feel your vision and your purpose, that's aligned with your brand, so that, they can understand if they like you, they know you, and they trust you. So there's different types of posts that we'll run through as we move through, but I think it's really, really important that we move back to, a little bit of what we touched on last week as well, on that rapport building process, but how to actually communicate that and take that from, okay, they see you, they like you, okay, but like they haven't quite built that trust yet because they haven't communicated with you. Now, I'll tell you a little bit of a story, and this story is quite close to my heart, so I'll try not to get emotional. But when I was at school and I first started at school, and I like using this example because what I've found around in my community and in our circle of influence, a lot of the people that are getting ahead and utilizing the online space as a platform to get ahead are usually people that didn't really do that well in the schooling system. And I was one of those people, right? So when I was in the schooling system, the first thing they told me to do was, Cole, sit down, shut up, and say nothing. Well, that never got me anywhere. And that won't get you anywhere in the online space. It won't get you anywhere in network marketing, right? And it won't get you anywhere in business. And that's what I come to understand. It's like, but if I sit down, shut up, and say nothing, I never get anywhere. So communication is the answer. We got to become better communicators. And there is a system and a process to this. When you learn the system and process, it's always something you can fall back on. The biggest thing that people struggle with is that they got all the leads, they got the audience, but what do I do with it? How do I talk to the people? You know? And you can tell how excited I get about this, because this is my favorite sales process, the onboarding process. Like, how do I get someone started? How do I get them excited about my product or my service? The first thing we need to do, and guys, write this down because this is the game changer. You need to have a method. There's always a method to the madness. We're not going out and spamming our link and talking to people and you know, the old trick of talking to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. Like we said earlier in the earlier weeks of, you know, week 1, week 2, quality beats quantity. It doesn't mean, I'm not going to tell you to add as many people as you can into your Facebook till you hit 5,000 people. To me, that makes no sense, because it's the law. It is the law of averages, but it's important that those averages are based upon high quality conversation. So you're not just attracting randoms, right? We're speaking to your particular audience. Okay, so let's get to work. So I want to talk about the first process, which is the rapport building process, that a lot of people don't. They skip the step because they just want to make the sale. And you know, yeah, I'm gonna be the bearer of bad news here, that you never get a sale doing that. I tried that. Jesse's probably tried that as well, and everybody on the Zoom's probably tried that. It doesn't work. You have to build trust first. The person has to actually like you. So it's vital, and I'm going to get Jessie to touch on this as well, because I know she's really good at this. This rapport building process becomes automated after a while. You just get good at it. You just get really good at it. And, you know, it becomes a focus, and it becomes an understanding that this is a business, it's not a hobby. Treat people how you want to be treated. And that's really the key. The key is treat people how you want to be treated. And, you know, if you have to write that down, then that's fine. And the second thing is we want to be speaking about the things that matter to the people that care. Speak about the things that matter to the people that care. Because if you're speaking about the things that don't matter to the people that don't care, then you're not going to get any sales. That's how it works, right? So the things that matter in your audience, you know, your audience are people that care. It makes sense. It's congruent. It works. So, guys, write this down. This is a process that, you know, I use, and I'll get Jessie to touch on this, because some of these things we talk about a lot. You know, we communicate a lot. We've never met in person, but we do talk a lot. We do talk a lot. We don't talk about business really. Like, it's not really touched on much. It's like, how's the family going? And, you know, it's really focusing on the important things, maybe the things that really light her up, maybe the things that, you know, is her why or her focus or the reason why she is online. So I like to call this form. Okay, so how it works is form. So FORM. This is the rapport building process. This is how you do it. Right? Form. FORM. Do you want me to put that in the chat, or you guys can write that
I'll
down?
put it. I'm gonna
Four
write it
letter
in the chat.
four-letter words are simple, right? 4-letter words are simple. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. So the form. What does F stand for? Family. So say if I was meeting Jessie for the first time ever. Let's do it. Let's do a little bit of let's do some brainstorming. Let's kind of, you know, talk a little bit here about like this first exposure that you have to this new lead that's come into your business or you're exposed to. The first thing you're going to do is establish, okay, like, do they have any family? Because family is close to their heart, right? So family is going to be something they're receptive to. This is the communication process. It's usually a barrier people struggle with initially because they don't want to let down that wall. But if you can break down that wall, all of a sudden there's no skepticism, it's a transparent conversation. You get the person talking and you just nod your head and say yep, and you just use minimal encourages. It's really, really good. And it's even better in a face-to-face environment like this, because you can see the person's emotion. Family, right? That's the first one. I'm going to do all of them and then I'll articulate why. Family, occupation, recreation, and then motivation. Okay, so family, obviously, it's most people have a family. Most people are somehow connected. Maybe their wives, their mum, or maybe they've got kids, or so that's a good starting point. Really good icebreaker. Let's say, and then the second thing is occupation. What do they do as a current occupation? What have they tried as a current occupation? Over the years, you can really like open this up. It depends on how deep you're wanting to go. Recreation, hobbies, activities, sports. What things do they enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis? Talk about the things that matter to the people that care, right? Think about this. The last one is motivation. What is their primary motivating factor? This is where you establish their why. What's their main driver in life? And if you can understand that, then you can start to peel back the layers. And sometimes they get emotional. Like I've talked to people in person on a Zoom and have started crying. That's how next level this can get. But this is an emotional business. And yeah, so it is powerful. And I'm looking at the chat. I'm watching Val put some stuff in the chat. But it's powerful, but it's transparent. Once we do run through this process, the next step is location. This is Lego. Lego. 4-letter words. 4-letter words. Work. Okay. Well, work's a 4-letter word as well. So there you go. Lego. Location. Experience. Okay. This is where we start to build into the business model, right? This is where we're moving into the sales process, right? Really easy and simple. Keep things simple. Location, experience, goals, and then the last one is opt-in or opportunity. Okay, really, really straightforward. Keep it simple. Form plus Lego. Form plus Lego. Repeat. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat.
Do you want
Is
to
there
just dive
anything?
into what is location and experience? Want to just dive into that real quick?
Yeah, cool. I'd love to.
I know you would.
So with location, this is vital. Okay, so when it comes to location, obviously there can be instant connection if you ask the person's location, like where are you from, and it might be Jess is in Canada and I'm in Australia, right? And some users are in the US. I understand that. So you establish where the person's from, and you can build a conversation off that. I've never been there before. I'd love to go there. Love to experience particular things that you might like in that specific country. Canada, I'd love to go snowboarding, right? So have you been snowboarding before, right? So there's the things that you can talk about, right? And then you move into experience, okay? So when we talk about experience, this is more of a business orientated question. So what sort of experience do you have in what you're currently doing? So you might have established what they already do. Like say if they maybe they do work online, maybe you're speaking to an entrepreneur, maybe you're speaking to a business owner. And so what sort of experience do you have doing that? How long have you been doing it for? And they say to you, and I said, and then the next step would be to ask, Are you still currently doing that? So you're asking them, are they still currently doing it? Are they still currently participating in that particular business or whatever that might be, right? And then, then they'll give an answer. And then you're going to come back and say, well, I'm curious that, I really want to know what your goals are, what your aspirations are, what your dreams are in life. Like, this is deep, but people do open up because you've already learned that first process. You already know that their family, maybe they've got cats and dogs, maybe they live in Canada, maybe they live in Australia, maybe they live in the US, maybe they live, I don't know, Africa, who knows, right? Now, the experience side of things, then we move into the goals. The goals can be however you want to structure it is up to you. But, depending on your business will depend on how you'll really articulate the questions. But the questions are always open-ended, and they allow the person to speak their mind. They allow the person to verbalize to you the things that are most important to them in life and what they're focusing on, they're focusing on moving towards. So the question I like to ask when it comes to goals is, where do you see yourself in 10 years' time? What does Cole's life look like in 10 years' time? Big question. Mm-hmm. If somebody had asked me that 10 years ago, I would have said, I don't know. I was probably, drinking alcohol and taking drugs, this is the thing, right? So it's a deep question, but it's vital to understand that if we don't ask these questions, the people that you're talking to will just continue to tread their wheels and never get off that hamster wheel, right? The last one is opt-in and opportunity. So you've got them to a stage where you've built trust, the form building, you've built the relationship, and you get them to a stage where their goals, what they want, and that their goals can be monetary orientated as well. They can be mindset orientated. They can be health orientated, depending on what you're doing. So, is there anything you want to touch on with that process, Jessie? I know we've spoke about this on the phone.
Yeah. I love
but
this
I love
process. One thing that I do want to talk about a little bit, and it comes to it kind of wraps up the form and the Lego and the posting that you do beforehand to get your people is you guys might have heard us talk about or not us, I suppose, but you've heard of people talk about an avatar, like who are you talking to? And I just want to say this, Cole, and this is something that I do, and this is really resonating a lot with me, because when I first started in the online space, I had no idea who I wanted to attract. And I was going through a whole bunch of stuff in my life. And I felt like every week that I was going through the process of different things in my life, I was attracting different types of people. And so the people that I had in my circle were all kind of this person would resonate with who I was this week, not who I was, but what I was going through, each week. And it was just really interesting. And so to kind of avoid that and to kind of figure out who it is that you want to talk to, I say you got to figure out who your avatar is. Who are you talking to when you post stuff online? Because you're not talking to 5,000 people on Facebook. You're talking to one person, and that's your ideal person that you want to join you in your journey. And so I look at what Cole has said, talking about family, occupation, recreation, motivation. Think about one person and how they would answer all of those questions. And same with the Lego, where do they live? What is their experience? Think about one person. And when you're putting a post online, pretend that you're talking to that one person, because not everyone's going to resonate with everything that you post, but your ideal person is if you talk to them. And so it's important to really think about who you're talking to. And so, I really encourage you guys to go through that, the Lego and the form, and write down it for yourself, but also write down that who do you want to attract to your business? How do you want that person to answer those questions? And then think about that person when you're posting. I feel like that's going to be really important for you. And that's what I do when I post. I don't post randomly when I create my content. People ask me all the time, how do you write good posts? Like, how do you create the content? How do you come up with what you come up with? And I'm like, I just think about that person. Like, that's all I'm doing. And I'm like, what does that person want to hear? That person's not a real person. It's just, that's my person that I talk to. And I know it might sound crazy, but that's literally how I do my posting online. Talk to my avatar.
I want to add to that as well, because I
Yeah.
think this is quite, I like using analogies. I think analogies really help people understand. When you come online, people tend to change everything instead of just focusing on what works. And it works offline as well. When you walk into a shop, right? So you walk into a clothes shop and you're wanting to buy a particular item, right? And you ask the person in the shop, particularly what item you're looking for. They're not going to offer you something that they like to wear. They're going to give you something that you've asked them, right? So you've talked to these people, you've built the audience, right? You know who your avatar is and who you want to work with. If that's mums that have got 2 kids that have struggled, and I guess a single, all of these things are key. They're really, really key, because when you're able to, I guess, focus on, you'll know yourself what their pain points are. You'll know like what the issues, the struggles, the time management, dealing. So if that's who you're dealing with, I'm just using that as an example, but if that's who you're dealing with, you'll find the actual posting process and the content creation process a lot easier. Because when you are creating your content, you need to think about it like, what do people want to hear right now? What does my audience want to hear right now? What's going to make them dance? That's the key. That's the key. And that's the difference between high engagement and no engagement. So there's a couple of different posts that I want to talk about today. And now we're on the posting subject and we've gone past the communication. We might go back to the communication because I love talking about that. But we'll go. What you are doing when you're posting is you're communicating to your audience without actually talking to them. Without actually, like me and Jesse are talking to ourselves, talking to each other right now, right? So without doing that, you need to be able to talk to your audience through that particular piece of content. How do you do that? Good question, right? This is why we're here. So the first step, obviously, is just generally being able to create engagement. Okay? Generally learning simple tips and tricks to create engagement. Jesse's amazing at this, right? It's really simple. What you need to do is you take a current event or something that's trending or something that's popular or something that you know is receptive emotionally, and you just piggyback that. Okay? So here's an example. So this one I've used multiple times, actually. I remember when Fortnite was a really popular, and this is really nothing to do with your brand. This is just a way to trigger the algorithm to get more people interacting with your content. So I remember when Fortnite, and I know that a lot of you guys on here will have kids, so your kids will go, Mom and Dad, I really want to go on Fortnite, and it just means that particular thing is super trendy. So my need, like I've got people in my network that are, they're 30, to mid-20s to kind of 50, 60, right? So it's a broad range, but a lot of them are parents. A lot of them have got kids. A lot of them are entrepreneurs. A lot of them work from home. And the piece of content that I put together was based upon talking to the parents, but having the kids in mind. So talking to the parents, talking to my audience, but having the kids in mind. So the post went a little bit like this. I can't remember the exact wording, but obviously it was structured a certain way. It doesn't have to be amazing. It doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Remember that. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just, it has to be able to, as long as it can talk, it can talk to your audience without you being there, then it works. So it was something like this. It was something like, and I said, Jesse's probably writing this down. She's going to use it probably. She's writing it down. It was something like it was talking directly to the parents. So it was like, has anyone on here, or does anyone on here on my Facebook let their kids play Fortnite? It was very, very controversial, the responses I was getting. Do you let your kids play Fortnite? It was something along those lines. I'm curious to know who lets their kids play Fortnite, because it was a very controversial topic, right? And you do sometimes get people arguing on your posts. It's strange. Keyboard warriors, right? But everybody has an opinion, guys. You got to remember, everybody wants to voice their opinion. What we are is we're the mediator. We're the mediator. We're not the person in there that's in the argument or having a debate. We're the mediator. We're in the middle. We're like, okay, we'll put the content out. You guys can go for your life. All we're doing is leveraging the algorithm, right? Because we know that people will look. Facebook, and we've talked about this already, I think, with audience in the last week. If we haven't, I'm happy to touch on this again. The Facebook algorithm updates all the time, but what it thrives off is interaction, right? People communicating with other people. It's a network, right? It's a networking platform. So if this platform can see people are happy and engaging and they're vibrant and they're liking the content, or maybe they're angry. I mean, that's an emotion as well. But what happens is you'll find that Facebook will start to send more people to that piece of content because it's generating conversation, right? So the conversation then builds more audience. And all of a sudden, you got hundreds of people commenting on your content, and it could be something as specific as, or something as simple as what I just spoke about. But you have to take something that's trending, trivial. Trivia is great. Trivia works really well.
Mm-hmm. I'll say one of my most engaging posts that I ever had was right when COVID came out, came and people were losing their jobs or had to work at home or whatever. People just didn't know what they were going to do. And so I made a post that said 1 to 2 income streams is dangerously close to 0. How many income streams do you have? And it had so much engagement. I was probably my highest engagement next to when I posted that I was pregnant. And I was, people, because they were losing their jobs, and people realized that, I had one source of income and now I have none. Right. And it just happened overnight, just like that. And so it was pulling on their emotions. And it is important, like Cole said, because people want to give their opinion. People crave to give their opinion, and because they're keyboard warriors, they do it behind the keyboard, even if they're shy, right? And so when you put stuff out there that allows people to give their opinion or to talk about themselves, people will always jump at the chance to do that. And so especially when it's on their keyboard, right? So
people love talking about themselves. That's our job. Our job is to not sell or convince people on anything. Right, our job is really to get people talking about them.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
and at the same time, when you can find out about your audience, so those kind of questions allow you to find out things about your audience that then you can use in the future, right? So like Cole said, so his people that he posted about, do you let your kids play this game? There's so many things that you can find out about that. It's not just for the sake of posting it, right? Is to find out, like, are you parent? Like, what kind of a parent are you? Do you, are you guys gamers? Like, then he could even say, like, if all the people posted yes, 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 he could use that for his next post. He could, do you guys let your kids play this, right? Like, he could kind of leverage that because it got a lot of engagement, to use that for knowledge for himself for future posts. And same thing with that one post about that I was talking about income streams, because if people say they've got no income streams, I want to start posting about income streams, right? So it gives you the idea of what to post for the next thing. So always keeping that in mind.
Talk about the things that matter to the people that care.
Absolutely.
Right? It goes back to that. All we're doing on social media when we're posting, right? This is the next step. Write this down as well. We are just gathering data. We're just gathering data. That's all we're doing. So when you post something, again, you have to, put your other person's hat on, not your hat, the other person's hat, and go, wonder what these people want to hear. What can I post? And this is a big question I get all the time. Oh, I don't know what to post. Like, put the other person's hat on. So if I was posting to Jessie, I'm not going to be posting about, like, rugby, or that's not going to make her dance. So you have to think about the person in front of you. In this case, it's, inside a networking platform, but it's still the same. It's, if we were in a conversation, who is the priority? Not me. I'm not trying to sell the business to myself, although a lot of people make that mistake. We've talked about that already, where people they get so excited about the business, and they start, and this is back to communication, I guess, but they get so excited and revved up about how amazing their product and services, and then they go and they sell the business back to themselves. And the other person's standing over here going, whoa, this person's crazy. I mean, how many of you have been in that scenario? Like, just put that in the comments if you've been in that scenario where somebody's like trying to promote you this product, and you're like, I just don't want to be around you. You know what I mean? So there's a difference between being excited in general and being excited in the sales process, and, like, verbally vomiting on the person in front of you, I think, is the key. And that's what takes me on to the next part. So I want to talk about posting, and Jessie touched on this. So that's a business orientated post, because you're going to get people on there that are saying, you're people that understand the importance of multiple streams of income. And then you're going to be people on there that maybe, sit in a state of victim, and they're going, oh my God, I can't believe it. COVID screwed me up, and they don't want to change their circumstances. So you're going to get people that need that mindset shift to take them to the next step. So this is another post structure, that you use to help, I guess, shift your audience's mindset and shift them into a growth mindset, not a stagnant mindset. So, and then the next step is the aha moment, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the growth mindset has to come from your posts articulating the importance of people making certain changes in their life. So you need to shift their mind from the distractions in life. So we start talking about, daily practices and things like that. Like, this is how I approach this scenario. It's like I'm always positive. Number one, positive over negative, optimism over pessimism, right? So if you take this approach, if you just are willing to be open to shifting your own mindset, all of a sudden, when you shift your mindset, you start to see, like, all these people rise up that have all this negativity. And then what we do is we kick the dead wood out, right? Like we spoke about in the early, you get that dead wood out and you bring people in that are positive. And then the mindset shifting is a lot easier. That process is just seamless. So the structure of these posts, they have to be structured where you're talking about a story, right? You're talking about an experience. You're talking about, something you've gone through that's just traumatic in life, that had you down, and these can be quite deep, very emotional, right? But you're shifting somebody through a journey. So we talk about the problem, the experience. So that might be, I was dead broke, I was living on rice and tuna, or like whatever that might be, if it's business orientated, or if it's like I was in a car accident, this happened, that happened. You're talking about your life or something you've experienced. So we articulate that, right? We post that, we structure that in a way where it just has to be authentic to you, obviously, and your brand. We talk about that, we articulate that, and then we move through into the next process. We talk about the solution. Okay, what happened after I woke up? What happened after, I went through that process of like healing? How did I fix the problem? What did I do? What action steps did I take? I hope you guys are writing this down. And then the last part of the post, so it's just like 1, 2, 3, right? Problem, experience, or, hardship, right? And then we move into the second part. How did I fix the problem? What action steps did I take? Who did I seek out? What mentors did I utilize? And then the last thing is obviously giving people the ability to join you, giving the ability to be in your network, to be in your circle of influence. So that might be inviting them to a webinar. That might be inviting them to your private Facebook group, where there's all the like-minded people like you. Yeah. So that last part will depend on, how, if you want to use an elevated sales pitch, or you're wanting to focus just purely on, I'd love to invite you to my group. Here's the thing, like, go in if you want. It's up to you. The door's open, but if you don't want to go in, that's up to you, right? So it's a very, very soft invite. And you'll find that if you do structure the post right, you'll find that most people are very, very open to that if they resonate. You only want people that resonate. Is there anything you want to touch on there, Jessie?
I love that, Cole. I really love that. I feel like that's where a lot of people struggle, is how to create a quality post, right? Like I've done a lot of, looking on people's Facebooks and just checking out what they have as far as posting. And sometimes I'll see them say, oh, join my webinar this day, this time. And that's all that they post. And so they don't, like, it's not relatable. People just will scroll right past it. There's no engagement. There's not even a like on it, because people don't want to see that. They want exactly what you explained. They want to get to know you. They want to resonate with you. They want to feel that you've had trauma in your life and that you've overcome it, because that to people is inspiring, and that they want to see that. That's why they go to social media, because they want to be inspired. And so writing that content does take practice. And as we go through the process of becoming better at it, we just got to start posting, and it's not always going to be perfect. And sometimes you'll reread it like 3 weeks later and you go, wow, what was I thinking, right? But it doesn't matter, because Facebook's not showing that content to people anymore, really. And so you can just try again and just keep doing it until you feel like you've really nailed it. And the way that you've nailed it is that you're gonna get people commenting on your posts, right? And
I
so
totally
it
agree.
just takes practice. It really does.
I totally agree. And guys, I just posted in the chat. Go over to my Facebook. I just posted something today, and it's exactly what I'm talking about right now. It's pinpoint. It's exactly what I'm talking about. And there's multiple experiences and problems and hardships in that post alone. There's like 3 or 4. And then I talk about what we're creating and how we're starting to build a community of people that want change. So go and have a look at that post. I'm not going to share it on the screen. You do it in your own time. You don't have to do it now, obviously, because I don't want you to get distracted, but go and look at mine and Jesse's Facebook, right? Whenever you like, and you'll see that post that I put today will help you, I guess, get a visual outlook on what I was just talking about. So it is really important when you do gain people's trust to then help them have their aha moment, the old light bulb moment or the penny drop moment. I don't know. It's up to you how you want to, articulate it. But that moment is the key. That's what really turns the corner for a lot of people, where they start to, trust in their own intuition. A lot of people struggle with this. It's internal. It's deep within. It's like, I just don't trust it. If you can't trust yourself, then how do you feel you can trust other people? It's a big emotional thing. It's definitely a barrier to a lot of people's success. It's the reason people don't create success in business, because they're not willing to take risks. They're not willing to calculate those risks. And they don't trust people online. That their walls are up. It's like this, there's this weird wall in front of us. And, I'm talking to you guys and like, I don't trust these people. I'm unsure. But this is how, I guess, and this is getting a little bit deeper, okay? This is how humanity was created. To be scared, to be fearful, to be knocked down, not to be an optimist, definitely, not to be driven, not to look outside the normal for opportunity. So when that comes knocking, most people have their door shut. So just think about it that way. Think about it. Think about this journey. When you guys first start out, maybe you are starting out. You're 10 steps ahead of other people. If you're on this Zoom, you're 10 steps ahead of, because I didn't know all this stuff when I started. Oh, like I can't even remember how I did things when I first started. I think I just invited all my friends and, I can't even remember. What did you do, Jesse?
When I first got started online?
Oh, tell us the story. Yeah, I want to hear the story. I want to hear the story, your first sale that you made. Let's tell that story and then I'll tell mine.
Okay. My very first network marketing sale. That's what you want me to tell?
Yes. Let's talk about that. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about that. I want to talk about that.
I used to be in the beauty industry, and I would do network marketing was face to face. This is before I got into online, actually, but this was part of the reason why I got into online. It's because I didn't necessarily like doing sales face to face, but I was like such an introvert. And I decided, one of the ways to get myself out of that shell and to put myself out there more is to do network marketing. So I forced myself to talk to people. My very first event that I did, and there was like a bunch of women there, and I was selling makeup, and we did these makeovers, and it was fun. It was out of my element, but it was fun. And they all loved what, I gave the makeovers, they all loved it. And at the end of the night, I was packing everything up, because I had no idea that you were supposed to ask for the sale. I just, I was just there, just doing it, and I was gonna go home. And at the end of the night, the girls were like, so like, can we buy this stuff from you? And and I thought, yeah, like, I guess you could buy it from me. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't even know where my sales slips were. So I was like scrambling, grabbed my sales slips, and I started writing out. They just wanted to buy an eyeshadow. It was my very first, network marketing sale ever. And from there, it just kind of snowballed, and all the ladies that were at the event wanted to buy something. But the thing is that I never asked for the sale. I just thought I was gonna I don't even know what I was thinking. I was just gonna leave and make a sale later, maybe. I'm not really sure. But the reason why, I like to tell this story is because it's important. When Cole went through the whole Lego thing, you have to talk about the business. You can't expect people to join you if you don't actually talk about it, right? You've got to allow them the opportunity to give you what you're asking for, what you're hoping that they're going to give you. And so that's why I like to tell that story, is because I wasn't planning to give them the opportunity. I was just planning to leave at the end of the night. And so I would have never been successful there if I didn't ask.
Oh, I love that. I love hearing these stories because it gives people an insight to how much growth needs to happen in this industry and how much this industry endorses growth like no other industry. So like you look at Jessie now and people look, oh, Jessie, she does quite well in what she's doing with the trading and stuff. But not always. It's a process. And this is what I'm saying, guys. Like, I'm super grateful that you're here because you're 10 steps ahead of anybody else. This is like high quality information, right? Like I've spent tens of thousands of dollars to get this type of information, and personal development, professional development, marketing development, all of these type of things, and they're all different, but they all work together.
Mhm.
And even if I look back myself, and I want to tell a story now, since Jessie, I want to tell a story. I remember when, because I've been a strength coach for 10 years, so I've worked face to face with people for a long time, and so this conversation idea, like I said earlier, I got told to sit down, shut up, say nothing. Right. When I moved into the fitness industry, and this is really good for people that are on here that maybe aren't in the online space. This is a face to face story. So, initially we're brought up, and sales and public speaking is one of the most feared things. People would rather die than public speak. So if you can get on a Facebook Live and you can talk on your Facebook, you're 10 steps ahead of everybody else. You're 10 steps ahead because most other people would rather die than get on social media and talk about what they're passionate about. So kudos to you if you're doing that already. So back to the story. So, I started out in the fitness industry. I'm finishing up in July and we're going full-time online. I've been part-time for the last 2 years since COVID hit, understanding that COVID, was a scenario where, we had our income taken away from us. I couldn't work in the gym. Gyms were shut. So I had to make that change. But when I first started out 10 years ago, and, it was in my own business. I had my own business for 7 years. And I didn't understand that. Like, I just thought, people would just buy from me. Like, I just thought, oh, I don't know. It just, it would work. And, I'm passionate about training and fitness and getting people healthy. So people will just come to me, right? That's how it works, doesn't it? And I just had no idea. And I started out in a commercial gym, and I was in the gym, and it's the first day, and I was petrified, absolutely petrified is probably the best word. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was sitting in the back room, sitting on the floor by the back cupboard in the back room, right? It wasn't a very big room. It was probably like, I don't know, it was just pretty small. I was like, I can barely fit in this room. I was sitting in the back room on the floor. There was chairs to sit on. I don't know why I was sitting on the floor, but I was sitting on the floor like this, like tucked up like this. And the guy, the manager came out. He's like, "Cole, what are you doing?" It's like, he's like, you got to go out there and get yourself out there and talk to people on the floor, on the gym floor. And I'm like, no, I didn't sign up for that. I don't want to do that. Like, nah, I come here to train people. And I honestly, to this day, I remember that. I remember that happened, and it still blows my mind, how now we can just get on here and speak our mind. But it was a crazy moment. I was petrified. And now I look back at that, and I look back and obviously I had to get off the floor and get out on the gym floor and start talking to people. But guys, when I learned to use a process, all of a sudden things changed. It's like a speaker on stage. A speaker on stage has cues that they use. So when you're speaking to your audience, when you're talking to people in person, when you're asking for the sale, think about your cues. Think about the importance think about the importance of the person in front of you. Don't think about yourself, because you're not the priority. The person in front of you is. But yeah, to this day, that story blows my mind. I'll hand it back to you, Jesse.
Oh, I love that, because you were out of your element, right? And that's just it. You got to put yourself into positions that sometimes are a little bit uncomfortable so that you can become better. I love that you shared that. Cool. So if you guys have any questions, post them in the comments for us. Let us know that you guys have questions. We are here to answer anything. Cole, do you want to talk a little bit about our Facebook group, our new Facebook
Yeah,
group?
totally. But so what we wanted to do, guys, so originally this was just kind of something me and Jesse kind of drummed up with multiple conversations, actually. But the Facebook group, this series, it definitely is a series. If this is the first part of the series that you're watching, then I do invite you to go back and watch the first two, because the first two are really about positioning and understanding that it's important to have a brand, so people know who you are. Understanding that it's important to build an audience. If you don't have an audience, and it's important to get one, and we show you how to get one. And then obviously today we talked about conversation. We talked about speaking to your audience through posts, and now we're going to talk about what to do next. So for yous that are on here now, what we want to do is obviously we don't want to leave you in the lurch. We want to continue to give you more value, because we feel that that's the key. Ongoing support and accountability, okay? Action steps, tasks, okay? Value is key. So what we're going to do, okay, is we're going to invite you to our exclusive Facebook group that we've created only for people that do this series, okay? Only people that do this series. So obviously we want people to move through that process first. Week 1, week 2, week 3, okay? And then the next step is to join the Facebook group. A strong community of people that have obviously been through, okay? They've kind of formulated that idea. They've marinated that idea in their head. Now we're ready to take the next step. And the next step is in the exclusive Facebook group, okay? Where we're going to nurture you and look after you, okay? With added value every week, okay? Like live Facebook videos every week, okay? On particular topics, on particular struggle points. Because it's important to know the market, okay? So when you understand the pain points of the market and what people struggle with, it's very easy to help people move past that. But people get stuck in this rut because they go into a course or a mastermind like this, and then they're just left out in the dark and they don't go anywhere. And it's like, well, we're going to put you in the Facebook group and look after you. That's the key point here. Is there anything you want to add on that, Jess?
Yeah, I mean,
about the name of the Facebook group.
Oh yeah, what did we come up with? The marketing mastermind
Elites.
Yeah,
you go.
You guys, we're really excited about it because it's, Cole and I both have a lot of experience in marketing, and especially online, been around for a while. And this is going to be a place where we can just drop so much of our knowledge and our lists and our, just.
You're making us sound old. You're like, we've been around for a while.
But we're not old. But we just are really excited to be able to have this space for you, because we know what we've been through our journey, And we know that this would have helped us tremendously through our journey if we had a space that we could, be with other people who are also going through the same thing. And so, yeah, so we're gonna drop the link to that group, probably, I'm gonna say, like, the same time that we release the 3-part series. And then you guys can jump in there. We're already gonna have some content in there for you. We're gonna have some checklists from the first mastermind that we did in part of this 3 series. And there's just gonna be lots of stuff. And so I'm looking forward to working with you guys inside there. And if you guys have questions, that's going to be your space to ask all the questions, and we're going to give you guys all the answers.
It's super exciting. It's definitely exciting. I feel that a lot of skills that we have, we don't actually utilize them, Jesse? Like, we have so much skills, but we tend to forget that we were in your guys' shoes 2, 5, 7 years ago, where a lot of these questions we didn't have the answers to, but we have them now, and that's why we want to give them to you guys free. Okay, so for people that do the mastermind, we want to give this to you free. Okay, this exclusive Facebook group. Later on down the track, this might be a paid program, but for the time being, we want it to be free, because right now we understand what's happening in the economy. We want to bring people online, show them and teach them the skills to build a business from home. Okay, that's not affected by COVID, right? It's not affected by pandemics and this and that and outside stuff. We want to help you build a platform for yourself and your family. Okay. And later on, maybe you can invite other people to the mastermind. Okay. And then, obviously the community will grow organically. I love organic. I love organic. I'm just reading through the comments now. There's a couple of comments coming through. Thank you for the value and attention. Oh, thank you, Val. Like, we appreciate you showing up. You've been so consistent. You've been here the last 3 weeks. We see you. We see the people that show up, right? Attendance. Remember that, 90% of it, guys, is just showing up. Imagine if 100 people had showed up to this, then 100 more people would have the knowledge that you have. But those 100 people don't want what you want. Maybe they're procrastinating. Maybe it's not their time. But yeah, we do think, obviously, we do appreciate you, Val. We appreciate all that you do, and I see you in the trading space. I see you doing your thing out there.
Crushing it.
No one has ever. Chuck just said no one has ever offered this type of training. Sorry, I missed the first 2 sessions. You'll be able to go back and look and watch them. So we'll post them. We'll allow you to go back and watch them. Look, in my experience, what's any good us holding on to high quality information? I just see that's silly. Us not giving back. Giving back is key. You learn something, you implement, you pass on the knowledge. You learn something, you implement, you pass on the knowledge. Yeah. This is not your general business model. This is not, I'm at the top, you're at the bottom. It's like, I'm going to help you up. I'm going to pull you up the mountain. That's how this works. It's not the other way around. We're not pushing people down the hill, right? This is why I get passionate about this. There's no other business model that allows this type of encouragement and belief. But guys, we're super grateful for having you here. And, we want to finish up because we've just gone over an hour 20. Wow. Did I talk for that long? Jeez,
No, we started late. But it's all good. Yeah, you guys, we are so grateful that you guys came, joined us. We love sharing. You guys can tell Cole and I love sharing our knowledge behind these topics. We're super passionate about it. So we're really excited to be able to share so much more for you guys inside the Facebook group. Cole, how are we going to get in touch with everybody? to get them into the
So
Facebook group?
yeah, so guys, what we'll do is we're gonna keep the last event. So there's an event in a circle. I'm gonna go and privately invite the people. Maybe you guys just message us. How about that? Whoever's on this Zoom right now, you message either Jesse. If you come through Jesse's kind of network, you message Jesse. If you come from my network, you message me. And we'll send you the private invite to the secret Facebook group. Obviously, you won't be able to add people into that Facebook group because we want it to be exclusive to you. Okay. And what might happen is we might get people that are on the first and the second one coming in as well. But again, that will be dependent on, who's willing to take action. So guys, you have to message us directly for the link. Okay, those that message will get access. Those that don't message won't get access. It's simple. Simple. Is there anything else you want to finish off on, Jesse, or are we going to wrap this up?
Let's wrap her up.
Oh, amazing, amazing, guys. Again, we appreciate you. We look forward to adding as much value as we can inside the exclusive Facebook group. And again, don't be scared to sing out. If you guys have questions, we're here for you. We're holding the space. We're holding the space for you. So, like if you do have any questions, odds are we've probably been through it. We've probably been through, what you've been through, what you're going through. So don't be scared to reach out. I'm going to leave it at that. Let's wrap it up. This has been amazing. And we'll chat to you guys soon.
Awesome. Peace, guys.
See you guys.